Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and Podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering the Shepherd of Hermas, chapters 78 through 86. Yep.
Yeah, wasn't sure what energy I had to match there at all.
Nah, I was going for like Circus Barker.
Yeah, eventually I got that. I
thought you had good coffee.
Yeah, I do have
that's
good
nice.
coffee.
That is nice. So today we are going over multiple visions. One of them is pretty short, and the other is fairly long. It's going to have a huge explanatory thing next week.
Oh, does Ruben get the shorter reading?
I mean, well, the way we kind of split up this show is a little different than the other one, but this first chapter is longer than the other ones. But
that's true.
But I mean, I'm sure I can just read more chapters.
Yes, you could. And what is that book that you are reading out of?
You see, this is the Shepherd of Hermas from the Hermenia Commentary series. The author is Carolyn Osiek. I'm going to go with that. And this is the translation and commentary of the Shepherd of Hermas. Yeah. Classic stuff.
You know what I'm reading out of?
Also
nothing.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading out of what you're reading out of.
Yeah.
I see a bunch of other books that aren't even on camera, and none of them are useful?
No, well, not for this, because this is the Friday show, and we have the Shepherd of Hermas. And we would have had, whatever Bart Ehrman would have put in this book, but
right.
Bart Ehrman decided to just stop.
He did. I think we figured out why, right? Because much of this is repetitive.
Yeah, it's super repetitive. It's boring. It's like when you get through Exodus, and then there's that whole part,
the temple part.
Yeah.
Some people come into the show just to see you suffer. So
when you get through Ezekiel, and then there's that whole temple part, or like there was another temple part too.
What I mean, there's the construction of the temple.
Yeah, the actual construction of the temple where they talk about all the dimensions again.
Was that in Samuel or was that in Kings?
Kings
Must have been in
Kings. Is where I
think.
Yeah, like First Kings.
Nuts.
Yeah, but yeah, the part in Exodus, that was horrible.
Yes.
Reading through what was it, 6-8 chapters of just here's all this stuff for the tabernacle.
Here's the physical dimensions of a tent.
Yeah. Really, really unpleasant to read through.
This is a nop.
Yeah,
I don't think that the Shepherd of Hermas is quite that bad.
It's not.
But it is kind of a formula within these works, isn't it?
Yeah, and so I was for some reason
We should just have a T-shirt with a picture of a nop and a picture and an arrow pointing to it saying, "This is a nop," so that everyone knows what a nop is.
That would be really useful for the people that don't know what a nop is.
Yeah.
And I wanted to point out here when I was going over, I don't know, yesterday I was reading through a book on New Testament canon, just cause I don't know, I just kind of felt like it. And there was the Muratorian canon, the Muratorian fragment. And I think it was that one, or was some different Latin manuscript, but it included the Shepherd of Hermas as part of the canon. And the reason it stuck out to me, I was like, that'd make for a really interesting soteriology, because one of the most interesting things about the Shepherd of Hermas is the fact that you only have one chance to get saved, really.
That is correct.
If you convert, that's the shot that you just took.
Yeah.
You can't deconvert and then go back into it. Like it's that one shot. Yeah.
But isn't it the same in the Bible?
No.
It's slightly different.
It is slightly different because it doesn't. This is very specific. You would say that. This is very specific. Now you could argue
it's like phrasing on magic cards, basically.
Right, yeah. Like you could argue that because blasphemy is the one unforgivable sin. Like you could go from that standpoint. You could argue that leaving the faith would be enough. But in this case, you can leave. Like if you grew up in it, you can still leave and then come back.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure the
But it's only once.
Right, only once.
I think it's the Lutheran position that when you do leave the faith and become like an ex-Christian, right? You, in doing so, are rejecting the Holy Spirit, which is the unforgivable sin, which is what you said. So there would be some people who would say, no, you can't. And they would have some basis for that.
Yeah. I mean, I could see.
Now, the people who say, no, you can leave the faith, and that's consistent with the Bible. You can like come back to it and like over and over again. Like you just get forgiven over and over again. Right. Now, I think there has to be some kind of argument made there, because I don't see that being like something that the religious people would want to encourage.
Right. The thing is, they never like it, but whenever you ask them about it, that is kind of their viewpoint. Like they never like that that's the case, but they're always like, yeah, that, at least the ones that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, that is how it is. Like, as long as you're saved by the end of your life, that's what matters. So it doesn't, it phases them on like a moral level, because they're like, this is kind of, bullshitty, but they still accept it, I guess.
Yeah, it's on stun. The phaser's not to kill.
Essentially.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't just like deconvert so that you can like go to an orgy and then like reconvert when the orgy's done.
Yeah, I think something like that.
I could imagine that some crazy weird priests or something might think, yeah, that's fine. I could do that every month or whatever, every week. I have no idea. I'm not them.
Every day.
No judging.
Every day, yeah.
No,
just
not too much judging, I guess, then. If it's every day, please do other
What do you think's
things.
happening in the underground clubs in the Vatican?
Yeah, obviously, it's exactly that.
I was unaware that there were clubs down there. I thought they were crypts. Maybe they're both.
There can be two things, yeah.
Yeah.
No, in Ratzinger's posthumous book that was based on his journals, he writes about how there's all of these like underground gay clubs in the Vatican, and that there's like a whole subculture of priests who go to these like gay sex clubs.
I think it's funny if it'd be true.
Right.
That's what Ratzinger said.
Okay.
So
I don't know about all that, but I am sure that many of them are secretly gay, and
yeah, but Tsunami, it's a gay club.
I mean, yeah, and
I don't know if they'll let you in. You got to be a Christian and you got to be gay.
You got to be Christian. You got to be a priest actually,
or
and
a cardinal or a bishop.
Right.
Yeah, it's exclusive. It's an Don't forget that. Nothing.
Yeah, only they're allowed in.
You have to be part of the body if you want to touch some bodies.
Wow.
Either way, I think we can probably hop into this first vision here, or not first vision. There have been lots of visions. Although, yeah, that is, yeah, that's a good point.
That's what your immediate thought is when you bring religion into it.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeesh.
That is a risk. So, the first one's going to be the 12 Mountains of Arcadia. That's the first one for you. Yeah, and then after that, there's going to be something about virgins.
That's more than I thought they had. I thought there would be like between 7 or 10. Perhaps.
I was always told 11 growing up, that there were 11 mountains of Arcadia, but now this is just new.
Jeez.
Look, there's manuscript uncertainty about the place of this long section in the whole. A gives it no title. E entitles it to the beginning of the similitude. C2, simply beginning. Clear break is envisioned within the text itself at this point. There's a familiar conclusion at similitude 8:11:4, followed by a transition line into what follows. As the text stands, these comments that they have serve to link together two distinct sections of the book. The teaching on the different kinds of persons and different responses to the message of conversion has been conveyed through the image of stones used for building the tower in the third vision, and through the different conditions of willow sticks in the eighth similitude.
Oh man, it's been a while since we've done this show.
Yeah.
Remember all those sticks and how withered or not they were?
Yes.
How they decided, if something was.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I know that it's been a while, but it's very vivid to me how annoying that was.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Here,
like, the same teaching will be conveyed via 12 mountains, to be taken up again in chapters 2 through 9, 12 through 16, with a reprise of the tower. For some, there is a contrast between the ideal church of the visions and the historical limited church of especially this similitude. Certainly, both aspects of the church are presented in Hermas, but both aspects are present in both visions and similitudes. Here, the Christological allusions will grow stronger, as will the detailed discussion of the shortcomings of church members. So, now you have an idea of what we're getting into. And some manuscript uncertainty. That's interesting, right?
Yeah. That happens quite a lot in manuscript traditions when, because of how preserved or not preserved things are, we are entirely unsure of where to place them once we have all the information. So, yeah. Also, hey, Unagi, Jesus isn't quite here yet. He'll be probably here on Sunday.
If I so decide.
But Unagi, I can tell you, because I know, right? Jesus loves you. This I know.
Oh my God.
For the Bible tells me so.
Didn't you used to sing that all the time in high school?
He did.
Satan loves me.
That's what you sang in high school.
He did. Yeah. all the time.
Yeah. Form and wealth to him belong. Fuck the weak and him be strong. Yeah.
Wow. That's so intense, Ruben.
Yeah, man. Satan loves me. Shit. Anyways, we're talking about these 12 mountains of Arcadia. Chapter 9.
Well, I mean, it's parable, or similitude 9, but it's chapter
78.
Yeah.
After I had written the commandments and parables of the shepherd, who is the angel of conversion, he came and said to me, I want to show you whatever the Holy Spirit showed you.
Man, this thing is already kind of feeling off because it never, aside from the one time that they introduced the shepherd as the angel of conversion, they haven't referred to the angel as, like they've referred to the angel as the angel of, they've referred to the shepherd as the angel of conversion, but they usually use either one or another. Like they don't have to like tell you again. They don't have to make sure you know who the shepherd is.
I think they predicted that you were going to be sick and we would have to take a couple weeks. So they they
wrote
this
that
in the book.
So I remember who the shepherd was.
Yeah, this is
dangerous
prophetic
for your
literature,
health
man.
information.
Wow.
I've never even considered that could exist.
That's
Anyways.
incredible.
Like that dangerous. Like it almost killed Lawrence. I don't think
it didn't.
No. Anyways.
Cursed episode? Lol.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't follow the typical formulae here. I want to show you whatever the Holy Spirit showed you, who spoke with you in the form of the church, because that Spirit is the Son of God. Okay.
All right, then.
Now
we know.
Yep. Since you were weaker in the flesh, it was not revealed to you through an angel. Then you were fortified by the Spirit and strengthened in your own strength, so as to be able to see an angel. Then the building,
like the church?
Then you were fortified by the Spirit and strengthened in your own strength, so as to be able to see an angel.
Okay, sure. That makes sense. You know, you have to be strong enough to be able to see that, right?
Now, Lawrence, there can't be any kind of scientific evidence, proof of God, because these people, they're just not strong enough in the faith.
You're right. They're not strong enough in the faith.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
And, of course, you're not able to see the truth of the Bible because you're not strong enough in the faith to literally be able to see the angels that are floating around now.
That is true.
Giggling and firing their little angel arrows.
Yeah. Yep. Angels right there.
Yep.
The most threatening things.
They're just like eyeballs It's kind of disgusting when you think about it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Some other form of horror, angel horror. It's a new genre.
But this is why you don't have evidence of God.
Yeah, I literally can't see it. I'm not strong enough in the faith.
So perfect apologetics. I wonder what Penn guy thinks of that.
I'll ask him. Actually, I probably won't because I'm not going to campus because the semester's over.
Oh.
But I'm going to want to remember this. So that's the best I can do.
Are you friends with him on Facebook?
That's true. Yeah, I am actually.
Yeah, you can
he added me after 5 years.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, so, yeah, I'll let
He added me immediately.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I don't know what took him so long for you.
Rude.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, you can't see these angels. Then the building of the tower was revealed to you by the church. You have seen everything in a beautiful and seemly way, as it were, virginally. Now you are seeing through an angel, yet through the same Spirit. So, yeah, they're saying that he has access to the information that these angels have, and these visions that are handed to him by angels, which I guess is one way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
But you must see everything more clearly from me.
Jay Dollar with the membership of 6 months. Nerds.
Yes.
That's us. We're the nerds.
I guess.
Yes, we are.
You ever see Revenge of the Nerds?
I feel like I have. I don't remember it though. But I feel like I have seen it.
There's a scene where, what did they do? I think what they did was they took a bunch of naked pictures of sorority girls and they put them at the bottom of a pie tin, and then they sold cream pies.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Without the knowledge of any of these sorority girls.
Yeah, that's pretty
and
funny.
Became incredibly wealthy.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
don't do that.
Do not.
Do
not. That's a movie thing.
That's a that in real life. That's not cool.
No. It's actually funny. I was talking to a friend of mine about some of the upcoming classes next semester. Here are some of the classes that they are offering next semester. Hittite myth and history. They are offering a history of witches and the witch hunts.
You're taking both of those.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Thank you, Sumami.
Oh, Sumami with the $1.99. Thank you.
It's all right to be poor.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We forgive you. So there. Let's see. There was another one on. It was called Celtic Crossings or something. It was on Celtic influence in in that Scandinavian area.
Now the only thing about the Celtic cross that I know is that it's the name of a very popular.
No, I don't mean a Celtic cross.
Tarot
Celtic
spread.
Crossings. Movements, migrations.
I was talking about the tarot spread where
I bet you were.
Card, and then you have a covering card in north, east, south, and west, and then a series of towers that lead up.
I'm muted. Maybe next time,
Celtic
man. We're not talking about that.
But yeah, there are a lot of really interesting classes coming up next semester. So
great.
Yeah.
You should take all of them.
Yeah, as many as I can. Yep.
How many can you?
Well, I can take a whole bunch, but I don't want to take a whole bunch.
I think you can take 7.
So something like that. I'm not going to take 7 because fuck that. But I am probably going to take either 3 or 4. There's a possibility of me doing a Greek internship too. So
Greek internship.
Yeah. So it would just be me
tutoring Greek students.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
which should help me with Greek, right?
This is a paid internship.
Paid? Probably not.
No.
Okay, then don't do it.
Don't.
Insist that you get paid.
Well, I mean, I'd get credits, but yeah.
I mean, gross the balls. Insist you get paid.
Okay, yeah, I'll take it up
did
with
it, and now
department.
he gets paid. None of his coworkers do.
Actually, no, because you would be paying them.
Right, I'd be paying them, right, because I'm going to school.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah, but
Bad deal.
This is education in America, people.
Fucked up, dude.
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind, doing the Greek internship because it's it helps me gives me time to practice Greek. So
yeah.
Either way, let's continue.
Oof. But you must see everything more clearly from me. This is why I was assigned by the honored angel to stay in your house, that you might see everything boldly without being afraid of anything as you used to be. So he took me away to Arcadia, to a breast-shaped mountain.
Yep, a breast-shaped mountain. There we go.
It's got a little tip
there. That's the temple at the very top. That's the high place, actually.
Yeah. Yep. Sat me down at the top of the mountain and showed me a large plain surrounded by 12 mountains, each of them different in appearance. The first was black as pitch, the second bald with no plants, and the third full of thorns and thistles. The fourth had plants that were half dry. Are these green on top, but with dryness at the roots?
No.
These are all hold on. These are all the titty-shaped mountains, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure.
And this is the sticks again,
yeah,
man.
This is just the sticks
again,
It is
Lawrence. The sticks again.
Some of the plants were drying up as the sun burned them. The fifth mountain was very steep with green plants. The sixth mountain was okay, at least that one was short. The sixth mountain was completely full of cracks. Some large, some small. The cracks had plants in them, but these plants were not doing well. Rather, they were withering. The seventh mountain had joyful plants, and the entire mountain was thriving. And every kind of domestic animal and birds were feeding on that mountain. The more the cattle and birds fed, the more the plants of that mountain thrived.
Okay. So that sounds like a...
How is this not the sticks still?
It is the sticks.
But also they eat plants, that means that the plants thrive.
Sumami, they're not, because some of these, they're bad mountains. They're bad titties. And I'm sure they're going to get into the explanation of that as they did with the sticks.
Oh, yeah. I bet they will. The eighth mountain was full of springs and every kind of the Lord's creatures. When it said springs, I immediately thought not of natural water springs, but of metal springs.
Metal springs.
I thought it was full of the season spring.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, obviously. That made the most sense to me.
I'm just thinking that this mountain's covered in these springs.
Wow, that's good. Just bouncing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slinky Mountain, man. I would go to Slinky Mountain.
I would too.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. You don't want to climb Slinky Mountain, man. You'll die. For real. Anyways,
it's like those 70s Slinkies, so they're not safe. They're metal.
Anyways, it's full of springs, and every kind of the Lord's creatures came to drink from the springs of that mountain. The ninth mountain had no water at all, but was entirely desert. In it, there were wild animals and deadly snakes that could destroy people. The 10th mountain had large trees and was completely shady. And in the shade of the trees were sheep lying down, resting and ruminating. The 11th mountain was heavily wooded, and the trees bore fruit, each decked out with different fruits, so that anyone who saw them desired to eat of the fruits. The 12th mountain was completely white. Its appearance was full of joy, and the mountain was most beautiful in itself.
So if this is similar to the sticks, then which ones are totally good? Because a few of them sounded like they were totally fine. There was the one where everything was rejoicing and it was all green and lush, and then there's this last one where everything seemed nice too.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, the 12 mountains are to some extent reminiscent of the 7 mountains of 1st Enoch 24 through 32. But there are considerable differences. There, all the mountains are beautiful, and one extraordinary mountain is the throne of God. Here, at least 7 of the mountains are potentially troublesome in their description,
right.
and the progression from bad to good is not completely clear.
Right.
Since the 9th mountain breaks the pattern. The mountains surround a large plain, as is shown in the next chapter. The plain is not empty, but contains the great white rock that is higher than the mountains. It's a fucking mountain.
Well, right, yeah, right. Make it another mountain. It's a mountain.
Yeah. And this feature does not. This feature does resemble 1st Enoch 25. The detailed description of the condition of the half-dry plants on the 4th mountain is reminiscent of some of the willow sticks. The cracks, some Greek word here,
sure.
Axiuta.
Oh, okay, hold on. No, that's an S, by the way. Schismata.
Schismata.
Oh, that's where we get our word schism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fracture.
Schismata.
Yeah.
It's cracks. Schismata in the 5th mountain. Resemble
like seismic, where that might come from too?
I don't think so.
No,
that's where we get schism and all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the O is an S and the X is a.
That's not an O.
Okay, the O is an X and the X is a CH.
That is not an O.
And the I is an I.
The I is an I, but the X is a CH. Yeah, but the O, it's not an O. As in, it doesn't look at it closer. It has a thing at the top, doesn't it? Like a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little thing at the top, but it's like an accent mark. Almost.
No, that's not an accent mark.
It looks almost like.
But it's
an
not.
accent.
It's not. It's part of the letter.
Part of the letter.
Jeez.
That's an S. They actually have an omicron, so like that is the letter O. And this is not an O.
And this is M. It looks like M.
Which one?
It looks like.
Oh yeah, it does look a little bit like M. I guess if you look at it in a way,
if
it's what we use for mu.
M too low, and then you finish the M.
Yeah, it's the symbol mu.
Yeah.
Using
stats.
Right.
And A looks like A.
Yes.
And T looks like a T.
It does.
I don't know.
Tau. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
What an easy alphabet.
It is fairly easy. Half of it
what's
is
this? Is this what?
Ilarotes.
Okay, so
that's an L.
That's an L.
Yeah.
And the P is an R.
Yes, it's a row. Yeah.
So ilarotes. So this reverse mu is E. And
he calls it a reverse mu. It's more like an N, but with like a longer kind of tail. Yeah.
And then what the fuck is this?
Oh, come on.
How is?
Oh, that's also an S. So they have 2 different ways of writing an S. Well, 3 if you include a capital. So if it's ending a word, it has that form of an S.
Yeah, and this character here, just for the audience,
it looks kind of like an S, but it looks like a dumb S.
It looks like in French when you have the C that has that thing on the bottom.
Right, it kind of looks like that.
Saba, right? Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah. So I don't know why you're spending so much time on that, but yeah.
Well, now I don't have to ask again because I can read Greek and I'm fluent.
Okay.
You taught him everything.
Yep, that's the whole thing.
Yep. What a good tutor. You should
I'm really
help
great.
People. Yeah,
that is
Yeah. So the cracks, schismata, in the 5th mountain resemble the cracks in some of the stones destined for the tower in Vision 3-8 and elsewhere, and by word association, though not by similarity of image, the cracks in some of the sticks in 8, 9, 10, 14, and elsewhere. The 7th and 12th mountains are characterized by ilarotes, joy, a favorite term. The 9th mountain is the most dangerous and fearsome. So this is the overview of the mountains, and I'm going to hand it off to you because the next few chapters...
The next section,
well, the next 2 chapters are about the same length as what I just read, so maybe if you want to hand it off after that, or
I mean, I can probably keep going. And
do you really?
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. So in the middle of I don't know why they had the imagery in the order that they did, but like apparently they don't know either.
Oh yeah, in the next chapter.
Yes, we're jumping into 79.
Yes. If you're enjoying the stream so far, 79. Nice.
In the middle of the plain, he showed me a large white rock that had arisen out of the plain. I wonder what that is. The rock was higher than the mountains.
Dwayne.
Yeah, right. 4-cornered, so as to be able to contain the whole world. Okay. Cosmology.
Yes, because they still... at this point, believe that the Earth is flat.
I don't think they should have, though, at this point.
But they do.
They do. Yeah.
They do. Holy shit.
Yeah. That rock was old, with a door cut into it. But the chiseling of the door was new, or so it seemed to me. The door so shimmered in the sun that I wondered at the brightness of the door. 12 young women stood in a circle around the door. The 4 who stood at the corners seemed to me the most distinguished, though the others were also distinguished.
So these are like angels.
Yeah, this is a lot closer to the...
This is like Enoch literature.
This is much closer to that, yeah.
So we're basically...
But it's the same analogy, right?
We're getting into like a Hecalote literature almost.
Yeah. It's starting to sound a lot like that. So... They stood by the 4 sections of the door, each with 2 young women between them. They were clothed in linen garments, splendidly girded, with right shoulders uncovered as if ready to carry a load. Aren't we all? In this way...
Lawrence is always uncovered and ready to carry a load.
I'm always ready to carry a load.
Lawrence, by the way, I before I forget, because I know I'm going to forget, I found a paper that you might be interested in, which analyzes the character of Jesus as a Merkaba mystic.
Okay.
So Cardinal Stritch is shutting down.
Right, yeah.
So luckily I'm graduating, but their access to like research databases is shutting down.
Oh, right. So you're basically picking up everything you can.
So yeah, I'm just like downloading so many PDFs.
Okay.
Right?
Makes sense.
And,
that's a good call.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, fuck it, man. If I don't ever have access to a research database again, I have my own.
Yeah. That's good. That's smart. In this way, they were ready, very joyful and eager. When I had seen these things, I was amazed because I saw things great and wonderful. I was still confused about the young women because they were so delicate, yet they stood courageously as though they were about to bear the whole of the heavens. The shepherd said to me, "Why are you thinking to yourself and getting confused and making yourself sad? Whatever you cannot understand, have good sense and do not try, but ask the Lord to receive understanding and know them." I don't know why he didn't try that before. That's what he did every other time.
Every other time.
Yeah. You can, and sometimes he was called stupid for it.
Right?
Yeah.
Berated.
Yeah. You cannot see what is behind you, but you are seeing what lies ahead. Let go of what you cannot see and do not give yourself problems. Take control of what you do see and do not bother about the rest. Whatever I show you, I will explain to you. Look to the rest.
Now, if only Christians today would follow this advice.
Yeah, because there's a whole unseen world out there that you have to have a bunch of faith to look at, and, you know.
Yeah, just pay attention to what you can see and deal with that, right? But apparently, if your faith is strong enough, you can see angels and shit. So
yep,
that's true.
They're just there.
Yeah. It is really strange how this kind of ends off, though. So it literally, the word is virgins instead of young women. In fact, because it is parthenoi, so that's where we get the word like
Parthenon.
Yeah, Parthenon. Yeah. And the reason it's called the Parthenon is because she is a virgin goddess. Yeah.
And the Parthenon's in Greece.
Yes.
Or maybe Greece too.
Electric Boogaloo.
I don't know which movie is preferable here.
I don't know. The ending of this seemed kind of strange, right? So you can understand you can see what is ahead of you in this case. It's revelatory in multiple ways. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, they don't really go into that.
The setup for this mountain scene is super weird. Hermas and the shepherd are like sitting on top of the nipple of a tit-shaped mountain.
Yes, that's what's happening, yeah.
And they're looking out and they're seeing 12 mountains and then a separate white rock that's larger than the 12 mountains, which is somehow not a mountain.
Well,
don't at the shepherd.
Right. But it would be the tallest mountain of those. Yeah. It is interesting that nothing is made here of Matthew 16:18 or a similar tradition about the church's foundation on a human rock, which is probably still at this time only an Eastern tradition. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's not where they're going.
The part where Peter becomes the first pope.
Yeah, essentially, where he becomes the first pope. Yeah,
that's where the Catholic Church started.
That is where they like to start their story. Yeah,
and there's like this like whole block of time and then the Catholic Church actually starts.
Yeah. Eventually, it actually starts. So, continuing on here with chapter 80. I saw 6 men who had come, tall, notable, and similar in appearance, and they called on a great number of men. Oh, I don't like this, where this scene is going.
Not at all.
Or do I?
Probably not. Have the woman already, right?
Yeah, we have the woman. It depends on if what's following is consensual or not.
Wow.
Those who,
knowing the Bible.
Yeah, knowing biblical literature probably won't be. So those who came were likewise tall, beautiful, and powerful, and the 6 men commanded them to build a certain tower upon the rock. Oh. There was a great crowd of these men who had come to build the tower, running back and forth around the door. Yeah, it's a different tower, looks like. Or is it the same one?
Have you guys seen how many towers we've built? Like, take a look. Just in different cities around the world right now.
But are we just going to have the same thing again?
Yeah, there's
where
tons
it talks
of towers.
about them taking like the bricks and building the tower on top of this rock? Like, is that actually what's about to happen here?
No, it is. Yeah, it's literally the same thing.
Holy
it's the same amount of men doing this. It's the same. No. Yeah, it's.
So this is why Bart didn't include this section.
The 6
men are continuous from the original scene in in chapter 3, I guess. So they were identified as angels, the first ones created. As in that vision, they are again here assisted by a large crowd of other men. Yeah. Unlike the first vision, the stones now arise by themselves. They do not have to be brought up from the depths. Also, in contrast to the first treatment of the tower, here there is a sense of urgency. The many male assistants are literally running around the door, and the young women are cheering them on as they hold out their arms as if to receive something. In reality, they will be giving stones to the men.
Do you think it's an adaptation of the Testament of Solomon, where he has the invisible spirits, like specifically he has a whirlwind demon that he uses to help in the construction of the temple, so the rocks would rise by themselves?
I remember that demon. I remember one demon getting other demons.
Yeah,
for Solomon.
So the first demon that Solomon gets, he basically tells it, "Go out and find other demons and bring them to me."
That's right. One of them does help with the building.
Yeah, I mean, over time, they all like kind of assist with the building of the temple, like in terms of making bricks and carrying things, right? But eventually, he gets this whirlwind demon who's able to help finish everything. by carrying the rocks with the wind. So do you think that they're trying to like make a reference to that?
They might be. That's very interesting. So either way, yeah, they're reconstructing the temple, or not reconstructing it, but they're just doing it again. I don't know if this is the same scene from before, or if this is just a duplication. I don't know.
Well, while you're reading that, I'm gonna grab some more coffee.
Okay, so there was a great crowd of these men who had come to build the tower, running back and forth around the door. The young women standing around the door told the men to hurry and build the tower. They extended their hands as if about to receive something from the men. The 6 men commanded stones to rise from a certain... Wait, hold on. Yep. Yeah, they commanded stones to arise from a certain deep place and to go into the construction of the tower. Wait a minute. Hold on. Did I misread something in the commentary?
No, they even earlier stated that they were going to do something weird where they levitated stones.
Oh, yeah. It says unlike the first vision. Okay, I thought it was... Okay. I must have missed... I probably didn't misread it, but I misthought it. Yeah. So, either way, yeah, coming up from these deep places. 10 bright square unhewn stones came up. The 6 men called the young women and commanded them to carry through the door all the stones that were coming for building the tower, and to give them to the men who were going to build the tower. The young women took the 10 stones that had first come from the deep, put them on one another, and carried them together like a single stone. And now we're going into chapter 81.
Wonderful. Hey, if you're enjoying the stream so far, give us a like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends.
Man, it's so yeah, these 10 bright ones. Let's see what that means. So let's see. Yeah, they of course have arisen from the depths. The fact that white stones, in ancient prejudice in favor of translating it as white instead of bright here. In verse 5, the fact that white stones in verse 5 are equated with bright stones in verse 6 indicates that white connotes cleansing here, not innate color. The placement of the stones in the building affects the transformation from color to whiteness, at least for most. Those for whom this is not the case prove to have come back. We're not actually at that part yet. Okay. I see where they're going with this. This is all so strange. Yeah. But either way, they're getting these stones and they're all bright, and then they will be said to be white later, essentially. I'm going to continue on here. Even as they stood around the door, those who seemed strong were getting under the corners of the stone. The others were moving against the sides of the stone, and thus they all carried the stones. They brought them through the door as they had been ordered, and gave them to the men in the tower, who took the stones and were building. The building of the tower was upon the great rock and above the door. Those 10 stones were put in place and filled the entire rock. They became the foundation of the building of the tower, and the rock and the door were holding up the whole tower. After the 10 stones came 25 other stones from the depth, which were placed into the building of the tower, carried by the young women like the first ones. After these came 35, which were also placed in the tower. Oh, this is about the mission, isn't it? This is about being a missionary.
Yep.
Okay. After these came 35, which were also placed in the tower. After these came another 40 stones, which were all put into the building of the tower. Thus, there were 4 courses in the foundations of the tower. They stopped coming up from the deep, and the builders stopped for a bit. Then the 6 men ordered the masses to bring stones from the mountains to build the tower. So stones of many different colors were brought from all the mountains, hewn by the men and given to the young women. The women carried them through the door and turned them over for the building of the tower.
So what is the relevance of switching from the deep to the mountains here?
Let's see here. I'm going to finish the verse and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
The women carried them through the door and turned them over to the building of the tower. And when the variegated stones were put into the building, all alike became white and changed their many colors. So going from the deep, or getting stones from the deep, and now they're bringing stones from the mountains. Yeah, let's check. That is from verse 4. So is this
like a hermetic principle, like as above, so below kind of thing?
No, they're going to tear apart those 12 mountains. That's all.
They would be tearing apart the mountains because the mountains are just collections of stone.
So they're going to get crappy ones, and they're going to compare the one rocks from the one mountain were crappy, and the other ones were good.
I'm going to continue on here because it looks like that question might be answered.
Okay.
So I'm going to continue on.
Do it.
Yeah. So I just got done with verse 5. But some stones that were turned over to the men for the building did not become bright. They were found to stay just as they were when inserted, for they had not been given over by the young women, nor had they been brought through the door. I see. Okay. These stones were inappropriate in the building of the tower. So there's only a certain group of people, or only a certain way in which you can be saved. Mm-hmm. So the angels building the tower cannot properly convert.
Right, because they're not the angels of conversion.
Right. So you have to rely on, in this case, in this metaphor, it would be these virgins to save you. Mm-hmm. But
the angels who are doing the work, I mean, they're realistically like the body proper, right? Because the angels, well, carry on.
I'm going to carry on because they might actually have something useful in here. They've not been given over by the women, nor had they been brought through the door. These stones were inappropriate in the building of the tower. These 6 men saw the inappropriate stones in the building and commanded that they be taken away and brought down to their place from where they were taken. They said to the men who were carrying the stones in no way must you put the stones into the building, but put them next to the tower so that the young women can carry them in through the door and turn them over for the building. For if, they said, they are not carried in by the hands of the young women through the door, they cannot change their colors. So do not labor in vain, they said.
Right, because it's not the builder's place to engage in this conversion effort.
Right, yeah.
The builders are already the body, which means they are already the slaves of God. Right? And here they are literally doing the work of being the slaves of God.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, these angels, if we are identifying them with the ones from before, the ones that are the first created ones, these guys are angels.
Right.
And they are, they're putting together the tower, the church, the body. But they're, so something else has to bring you to them. I guess they would be the saviors, right? Mm-hmm. But something else has to get you there. Mm-hmm. So I guess if maybe this could be interpreted as like will, right? Like free will, or in a way, where it's not like if they take you, that's not free will. But if one of the women does, it is. Mm. I don't know.
Well, because the workers who are building the tower, they're the slaves of God, which is like the Christian proper. They're doing the Christian job. But the flip side of that, these angels are like, they seem like a fundamentally separate category.
They are.
Right?
Yeah, so it looks like the problem is not that they are presented by unacceptable people, but that they have been brought in the wrong and perhaps deceitful way. Since the women are holy spirits and virtues, and the gate is the Son of God, the allegorical meaning will come clear. Oh, yeah, these stones are to be placed near the tower, in expectation of a changed status.
It's like in the Gnostic tradition, how all of those divine beings were basically like platonic forms.
Yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Yeah. Kind of close to that metaphor.
Yes.
Yeah, but essentially that's what they're going for here.
So the angels are more like the Gnostic virtue form deities.
No, the women are.
The women, yeah. The women are also angels.
Yeah, but they're not presented in the same way as the other ones. Yeah. Anyways, so now that we cracked that case, did you want to continue with 82?
Sure.
Okay.
Where does 82 start?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
There it is.
Hand it to me. Hey, if you're all enjoying the stream, then
make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you haven't. Yeah, you should drop a like though, because those viewer engagement helps. So if you guys are chatting, or if you guys in any way interact with the stream, that's good, because YouTube sees that and they're like, hey, people are engaging with this content. That's watch time. So
do they see that? Do they
yes.
see?
Yes, they do. They see all.
And why don't they show? Because they show garbage, anyways.
they see it. They don't have to show it. That's a different thing.
They don't want us to have the data. Okay.
Oh, great, thanks.
Anyways, chapter 82. The building was finished on that day, but the tower was not completed because its construction was to be extended, and there was a delay in the construction. The 6 men commanded all the builders to go apart a little distance and rest, but they told the young woman not to leave the tower. It seemed to me that the young woman had been left to guard it. But when all of them had gone away and were resting, I said to the shepherd, "Why, sir, wasn't the construction of the tower finished?" He said, "The tower cannot be completed yet until its Lord comes to inspect this building, lest if some of the stones are found to be crumbling, he can change them, since the tower is being constructed according to his wishes." Okay, so this is like judgment.
Yeah, yep.
I said, "Sir, I would like to know about the building of this tower, and about the rock and the door and the mountains, the young woman and the stones that arose from the depths unhewn, which went that way into the building, and why for the foundation 10 stones were first laid, then 25, then 35, then 40.
That's a good question. Why?
Because numbers
go up.
They do go up
when you add things.
No, but yeah, I think it's more of a sequencing thing.
It's a sequencing thing.
Yeah.
And
watch it be the thing you said first, though.
And about the stones that were placed in the building and then taken out again and returned to their own place. Give rest to my soul about all of this and let me know. He said, if you do not turn out to be going after what does not matter, you will know everything. After several days, we will come back here and you will see the rest of what will happen to the tower, and you will know all the parables clearly. And after
that was not a helpful answer.
No, it wasn't. It's like, Lawrence, someday you'll understand.
Yeah, that's not a helpful answer.
And maybe you'll get it, dude.
And after several days, we returned to the place where we had sat, and he said to me, let's go alongside the tower because the one responsible for the tower is coming to inspect it. So we came to the tower, and there was absolutely no one around it except the young woman. The shepherd asked the woman if the ruler of the tower had arrived. They said that he was on his way to inspect the building.
He's been on his way for a while, huh?
Yes, he has been.
He's on his way.
I've been counting.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Chapter 83.
That was horrifying.
Yep.
I hoped you hated it. Sorry.
All right, chapter 83. And behold! It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Man.
After a little while, I saw ranks of many men coming, and in the middle a man so tall that his height exceeded that of the tower.
Wow.
Yeah, holy shit, right?
Yeah, I was told this was a pretty tall tower.
I was told there would be no math.
You were told wrong.
Oh, man.
But, okay, so we have to remember this is like... So this is on a mountain, right? On top of a rock, which is the tallest rock, which is... That still makes it just a bigger mountain.
His height signals his importance.
Right, yeah. So we have...
This is Invader Zim. The tallest are in charge.
Yes, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
That's right. Gosh, that show is great.
What a ridiculous political system that they legitimately whoever was the tallest was in charge, and even the tallest were faking it too. They were in like machine bodies that like
you always gotta love that scam though.
Yeah,
the whole
great scam,
kids in a trench coat kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty good.
Anyway. The 6 men set over the building, walked to the right and the left with him, and everyone who was working on the building was with him, and many other distinguished figures circling around him. The young women who cared for the tower ran up to him and kissed him, and began to walk with him around the tower. The man inspected the building very closely, even touching each stone. With a stick he carried in his hand, he tapped every stone of the building 3 times.
Wow.
When he knocked them...
Just like that.
Some of them became black as pitch, some scaly, some cracked, some stunted, some neither white nor black.
Just like
some rough, so as to
just
not
like tits.
Yeah. Some rough, so as to not fit with the other stones. Some with many stains. These were the different kinds of unsound stones found in the building. He commanded that all these should be removed from the tower and placed next to the tower, and that other stones should be brought and put in their place. The builders asked him from which mountains he wanted stones to be brought and put in their place. He commanded them not to bring them from the mountains, but he commanded them to bring them from a certain plain nearby. The plain was dug, and fine square stones were found. Though some were round, whatever stones were found in that plain were all brought and carried through the door by the young women. The square stones were trimmed and put in place of those removed, but the round ones were not placed in the building because they were hard to trim and time-consuming. They were placed next to the tower as if they would soon be trimmed and placed in the building because they were fine indeed.
Yeah, it's funny. This auditor of the tower, he doesn't want to bother with those rounded stones because they're just too annoying to deal with. But he will go around to every single stone and hit it with a stick
3 times.
Yeah.
And it'll transform.
Yep.
Scaly stones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Just use an AI generator. Just type in scaly stones and you'll get them.
Are they talking about like geodes?
Dude, I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. That's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe they're talking about like those. I don't know what they're talking about.
They would know what a geode is.
Yeah.
By the time of this.
Yeah,
writing.
absolutely.
They scaly stones, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know. You could just have a different type of, there are plenty of different rocks. It could be what's it called? I forget what it's called. But like the one that's actually very like that's actually like slates. Like what's the like you could argue that that's scaly. What's that one called?
It's slate. I mean, slate is one of them, but there's a better name.
Yeah, there's another one that I'm thinking of. Man,
the inspector makes his rounds of the tower, tapping
it's like the most easy one too. Like I took like a geology class, and that was like the easiest one to remember.
Oh, here we go.
I don't remember it.
Here we go.
Was it Micah?
The inspector
sounds right.
So he taps each stone with a rod, reminiscent of the magician's wand with which Jesus, the miracle worker, is so often depicted in early Christian art. The woman church also carried such a wand. So
interesting.
This is calling out to that like necromancer Jesus who's in I referenced it in my
Shale. That's what I'm thinking of. It was Shale. Okay, thank you, April. Yeah.
It's not Micah, sorry.
Yeah.
They don't say anything about the nature of these scaly stones in here. They just say they're among the types of stones to be rejected.
Well, yeah, because if you see a scaly stone, wouldn't you be like, that's kind of sus?
Yes.
Weird. Yeah, exactly. So these are just different ways to say something ain't right.
Yep. Anyways, chapter 84. When the honored man, lord of the whole tower, finished this, he called over the shepherd and turned over to him all the stones that were lying around the tower that had been removed from the building, and said to him, "Clean these stones with care and put into the building of the tower the ones that can fit in with the others, but the ones that do not fit, throw away from the tower." Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened before.
Mm-hmm. With this command, the shepherd, he left the tower with everyone with whom he had come. But the young woman stood around the tower watching over. I said to the shepherd, "How can these stones come back into the building of the tower once rejected?" He answered, "Do you see these stones?" "I see them, sir," I said. "I will trim most of these stones and place them into the building so as to fit with the other stones." Okay, so the angel of conversion is now modifying the stones that didn't fit in.
Right, yeah.
Right. That's his job.
But I'm guessing they probably... Do they also have to go in through the door again?
Well, the women are still there.
Bring it through the door.
Right, yeah.
It's part of the ritual.
Well, yeah, it is, but because those stones that were taken out just now, those stones were taken in through the door when those angels realized, hey, they have to go through the door, the women have to take them in. So I'm wondering if, once they got in, there was still a potential problem, right? So I'm wondering if they have to go through the door again. So I guess
let's keep going.
Yeah.
"How, sir, can they fill the same place after they have been cut away?" He answered me, "The ones that come out little will be put in the center of the building, and the bigger ones on the outside to support them."
Oh, this is exactly the thing about the poor people supporting the rich in faith. Yeah.
Having said this, he said to me, "Let's go, and after 2 days let us come back and clean these stones and put them into the building. Everything around the tower must be cleaned up, lest the master come suddenly and become angry, and these stones will not get into the building of the tower, and I will appear to be careless in the master's sight."
lest he becomes angry.
After 2 days, we came back to the tower, and he said to me, "Let's look at all the stones and see which ones can come into the building." "Let's look," I said. I'm going to hand it off to you for chapter 85.
Okay.
And I guess 86.
Yeah, probably. Make sure you drop a like.
Right there.
Okay, chapter 85. We began first to inspect the black stones, which were the same as when they had been removed from the building. The shepherd commanded that they be taken away from the tower and put at a distance. Then he inspected the scaly ones and took many of them and trimmed them and commanded the young women to take them up and put them into the building. There we go. Yeah, so it is they do still have to do that.
Yes, even though they've done it before.
Hate it when the master comes suddenly. Yeah. No time for, a little bit of foreplay there. It has to be right away. It's very unfun. You're right. Anyways, so
your slow look was pretty funny. Anyways,
commanded the young women to take them up and put them into the building. The young women picked them up and put them into the building in the middle of the tower. The others he commanded to be put with the black ones because they were also black. Next, he inspected those with cracks. He trimmed many of them and commanded the young women to carry them to the building, but they were put on the outside because they were more sound. The rest he could not trim because they had too many cracks. This is why they were thrown away from the building of the tower.
And exploded.
Almost. Then...
How can it be the case that the cracked stones are more sound?
I don't know.
Chris, you did bricklaying.
That's true, he did.
They're not,
but wait, hold up. Chris.
All right.
In the Shepherd of Hermas, it says that they are. So
the cracked stones were too sturdy?
These cracked stones are too after he trimmed them up, right? He said
that they're still cracked stones.
Well, right, yeah, but
Right.
he fixed them. It looks like, but
So, yeah, he trimmed like the exterior of the stones, and somehow they're more fortified than the other stones.
Yeah, there's no.
I don't see that being accurate about stones.
No commentary on this one, please. No commentary.
Structural integrity is evident. If there are cracks, it's less.
Maybe it's that
like
the
there's
shepherd
microfracturing can make a stone stronger, actually, but like this.
So then you're telling me that the Shepherd of Hermas was right all along.
If you didn't see the cracks, then they're fine. But if you see them, then no.
Oh.
Well,
this
maybe
is,
the shepherd
this is like a different, another worldly being. So yeah, he could totally see those cracks.
Well, maybe the shepherd here
he's
is
enhancing his vision, right?
just doesn't understand the purpose of siding. Like, he doesn't get that it's an aesthetic thing. So he thinks that the siding
Ruben,
makes it.
How crucial do you think this appendage of God's viewpoint of aesthetics are for conversion?
I think it's very important
What
because
does it?
he's put in charge of doing this.
That is true. He is put in charge of doing it. At least to the shepherd. Very important. So, either way. Apparently some are more sound than others. Then he inspected the stunted ones. Many of them were black and some had big cracks. He commanded them to be placed with those thrown away. Most of them he cleaned and trimmed and commanded them to be placed in the building. The young women took them and fitted them into the middle of the tower because they were weaker. Next, he inspected those that were half white and half black. Many of them were found to be black and commanded them to be taken away with those that were thrown out. Listen, this is like, why would you put them in those piles in the first place? Like, this categorization doesn't make any sense. They were very inefficient about this.
Yes, the Milwaukee Masons. Yeah,
well, one Milwaukee Mason. That'd be Chris.
I went through a course.
Yeah.
Nope. See, we're Freemasons. I am now declaring Milwaukee Atheists to be a Black Lodge Freemason organization. We are not in like the same current as the other Freemasons. We're Black Lodge, which means we're not approved of or sanctioned by any Freemason organization.
Well, I guess that's done then.
Well, that was fun. Yep. I hope it means nothing else. Yep. Anyways.
Hopefully nobody comes after us and tries to kill us because they said that.
Well, if they do, I'm blaming you.
Yeah.
If they do, you have like that like ridiculous supervillain gun storage thing in the wall in your basement.
True.
Your armory.
That is true. I do kind of have an armory.
So Lawrence literally has a fucking armory in his basement.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Hey, it's not all mine. No, most of it's my dad's.
Do you have a mask in there?
A mask?
You know,
like gas mask?
Like superhero mask?
Oh no.
No.
Oh man.
Why would you need that?
So I mean, yeah, my dad is a fan of guns, so he has a lot of guns.
Okay.
I have a lot of knives and swords though. I like those.
Oh yeah.
So I got a lot of those.
Okay, so when the Freemasons come after you,
you can kill Bill.
You can set up a tower defense game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
Yeah, that sounds legal. Anyways.
I just hope no one
The Freemasons just keep on going down the same path.
No.
They keep, it's a tower defense game.
No one's going to do that. Anyways.
Yeah, sure, hope not. So the others were all taken up by the young women. Since they were white, they were fitted by the young women themselves into the building. They were placed on the outside because they were sound and could support those placed in the middle, because none of them were mutilated. Then he inspected those that were difficult and hardened, and some were rejected because they could not be trimmed, being too hard. Aren't we all? The others were trimmed, taken up by the young women, and fitted into the middle of the building of the tower because they were weaker. So the ones that weren't hard got women to go over and touch them. Then
have you ever seen a rock that isn't hard?
No.
Yes.
Well, I've seen some rocks are softer than others.
Yeah, I've seen some
soft
rocks.
But they're not. None of them are actually like soft.
Okay.
Well, it's probably because they were sourcing half of their rocks from the ocean, and
whatever. Nobody cares about that, but there are soft rocks, and it is weird. It's like, what? It's a squishy rock. It's a rock, but it's a squishy rock. They exist.
Okay, so I know that there is, like, of course, like the scale of hardness, right? But like, are some of them you would say are actually like soft?
Yeah,
that's a thing. Really?
Like a sponge?
Probably not a sponge.
Yes, literally.
Like a sponge?
Almost sponge-like, yes.
Wow.
You know, just imagine it's kind of like a structure of steel wool, but in a rock form.
Oh, okay. Okay, I could think of that. Okay.
They can grow like that.
Weird.
And they are really weird. They're the weirdest rocks.
That is weird. Okay.
So like chalk is a soft rock.
Yeah, chalk is a very soft rock, but it isn't spongy soft. Unless you get it wet, then it kind of is.
Well, then it just kind of dissolves.
But it's a rock.
Yeah, the thing is,
I think it's because of the way they dissolved, anyways.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So, because if it's like just by itself chalk, I wouldn't say that's soft. It is the softest. It is a very soft rock in comparison to rocks.
Also, when I searched soft rocks,
oh God, did you get like bad music?
Eric Clapton, Michael Bolton, Lionel Richie, Air Supply, Rod Stewart.
Okay.
Thanks.
I don't know why we didn't think of that. Okay.
Let's finish this reading, guys. Come on.
Sure. Yeah, let's continue. There's not that much more. So, yeah, then he inspected those with stains, of which just a few were blackened, and he threw them away with the others. But most of them were fine and sound and were fitted by the young women into the building. They were placed on the outside because of their strength. And that is chapter 85. We have one last chapter for the day. We have chapter 86. And I think next week we're going to have an explanation. Yeah, an explanation of the tower and the young women, which I'm guessing would probably be what we already said.
What we knew, yeah.
But that's what we're working with right now.
And we're getting nearer to the end of the Shepherd of Hermas.
We are, yes.
There's still a bit more.
There is.
Yet.
But we're getting there. So, 86. Next, he came to examine the round white stones, and he said to me, "What shall we do about these stones?" "How should I know, sir?" I said. "Then don't you notice anything about them?" "Sir," I said, "I do not have the skill, nor am I a stone cutter, nor can I understand." He said, "Don't you see how round they are? If I want to make them square, quite a bit will have to be cut off of them. Yet some of them will necessarily have to be placed in the building." I said, "Sir, if it must be, why do you torture yourself instead of just choosing the ones you want for the building and fitting them into it?" So he chose the biggest bright ones and trimmed them, and the young women took them up and fitted them into the outside of the building. The remnants were picked up and put back on the plane from which they were taken. But they were not rejected, because he said there is still a little of the tower to be built, and the master of the tower wants all the stones to be fitted into the building because they are very brilliant. So you're only taking like part of the person?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm understanding?
We took your kidneys and your long intestines.
So they're throwing some of it back? That's weird.
That's it.
It's that you've got to get over a lot of stuff, Lawrence, in order to be a Christian. So we got to trim all that fat.
I have no idea, dude. And then the fat gets redeemed later? That doesn't seem right.
Hold on. This is such a strange verse altogether. Let's see.
I don't know.
In verse 3, Hermas rather humorously becomes the advisor of the shepherd, and that is kind of true, yeah. So he tells them to like, hey, here's some advice. Why don't you just make them fit? So yeah, where was I here? This may be a humorous interlude, a charming piece to distract the listener. No shot. During a multitude of monotonously similar episodes, this is where they would choose to take a break? No, I don't think so.
This is humor? Where?
I guess, kind of, we have like a little bit of a narrative sequence there. But it is also more. I think the also more is probably the only part of it. This group of round white stones that need extensive trimming are the wealthy, and Hermas is one of them. Besides, this is the only group of stones from which there are not some that are taken away for good. Here, in verse 4, those taken away are not finally rejected because the master of the tower will not give up on them. That they are bright is a puzzle, unless this is a way of expressing the hope of Hermas that they will still be converted. No, see, if you're doing it, if they're supposed to be the rich ones, then it makes more sense because you can throw some back down, as in like you can help other people through your through whatever was left behind by an inheritance or like to charity or something.
I get it now. You leave some behind for someone else.
To me that makes sense.
A shitty metaphor, but I get it now.
That's what I'm going with, unless they give me an explanation that makes more sense, because that one didn't make sense.
Just throw you a curveball and make it make less sense. All right, let's keep going.
There's definitely the chance of that.
But you'll get that explanation next week.
Probably, yeah. Unless we don't, because we know how good the shepherd is at explaining things. Mm-hmm. So continuing on. So the remnants were picked up and put back on the plane from which they were taken because they were not rejected. But they were not rejected because he said there is still little of the tower to be built, and the master of the tower wants all the stones to be fitted into the building because they are very brilliant. 12 women were called, pleasing in appearance, clothed in black, girded and bare shoulders, and loosened hair. These women looked wild to me. The shepherd commanded them to pick up the stones that had been rejected for the building and carry them to the mountains from which they had been taken. They were happy, and they carried all the stones and put them back from whence they had been taken. After all the stones had been removed and no stone remained around the tower, the shepherd said to me, "Let's walk around the tower and see if there is any shortcoming in it." I encircled it with him. When the shepherd saw how lovely the building was, he was very happy, for the tower was so built that when I saw it, I desired it. It was built as if it were all one stone without any joint in it, and the stone looked as if it had been cut out of rock. It seemed to me to be a single one.
Yeah, we've had similar things before.
Yeah. And that is the end
Which,
of
by the way, you should typically not do, as I'm sure Chris can tell you. If you don't have anything between those stones, it's not particularly sound or stable.
Yeah, not unless you, like the walls of Machu Picchu, they don't have cutting on them.
Right.
Or I'm saying they are perfectly fitted. They don't have anything in between them. But they also are on like a tectonically dead mountain that's like...
Maybe that's what's happening here, because this is a mountain.
They slide a little with the earthquakes sometime, if there is one. But they're built in a way to move with each other. And the thing is there's a height limit to how big you can make that structure then. Because if they slide too much, then they fall apart.
Right, and this is a tower. So,
so you're going to need adhesive.
Right, it is a tower.
You are going to need something in between those things. And it doesn't have to be much.
But
you can just mix some mud and some moss.
What shirt should I pick, guys? Is it Blame the Bible?
No, you shouldn't pick that one.
Are you sure?
That's like the only one that's up there. That's actually very funny, but really sad.
It's pretty bad.
We have other ones up there.
I know.
Yeah, there they are. Okay.
Phew.
And hey,
God damn though.
Is that everything for today?
Yeah.
So check out our Patreon, our Discord, our Facebook, our Twitter, our Amazon wish list, our Teespring. Buy this T-shirt that's being pinned
Exclamation
right now.
Point Discord if you're not already in the server, and if you're not, what are you doing? Why aren't you there?
And we talk to people if we can.
You should also become members.
Yeah, you could do that.
Got a nice community.
What other things? PayPal, right? They can PayPal you.
I mean, they could, yeah, but I mean, usually just Patreons. You get more out of You get more out of Patreon anyways.
Like drug deal.
Yeah, I know.
Apps anyway. That? So yeah,
that's fine.
I don't. What other ways can they pay you?
Well, watch the content. Oh yeah.
You could come find him in real life and like worship him. You could.
Don't do that. Actually, that one actually sounds terrifying.
That's weird.
But
like how the Pope washes people's feet.
Yeah, does he? That. We'll
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So like, go wash Lawrence's feet. He needs it.
Don't.
I'm telling you.
I mean, I can do it myself.
But you haven't. So
I do when I shower. You should make sure you stay tuned this week for within the next few days. I'll be uploading probably Monday morning a video on Akhenaten. Yep, that's gonna come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
And I think it's gonna be really good.
What are you talking about with Akhenaten? Everything?
It's kind of everything. I'm talking about his theology.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm talking about Akhenaten and Atonism. Yeah.
And what's his theology like?
Watch the video and find out.
No, tell me.
You're gonna have to watch the video.
Yeah, gonna have to watch the video. Thanks for joining us. We will see you on Sunday for the Bible.